So what the heck is a Brightdrop? Well, it's Chevrolet's all-electric commercial van, and we've got the keys to this one, so we're going to be spending a week living with it to see what it's like. We have two very different sides of Chevrolet in the driveway. We've got my Corvette Z06 here, and then we have the Chevy Brightdrop, which is on the entire other end of the automotive spectrum. But this should be a lot of fun to see what this thing is like. Press the button right here, and the door opens up. This one is the 400. There's actually a larger one available too, but this should be plenty spacious because this week my wife Angel and I are moving to our new house. So we'll be loading a bunch of stuff into the Brightdrop and put it to use. That is quite a lot of space and actually pretty impressive ceiling height. I am 6'3" and I can stand up in the back here without a problem, even with the door rolled up here. We've got plenty of lighting, lots of cool features to discover, but I think I'm gonna start loading stuff into the van. As you can tell, we didn't do any sort of crazy Tetrising trying to pack as much as we can into the back of the Brightdrop. We didn't go above pretty much 2 layers of boxes because we have the luxury of time and having this vehicle for an entire week. So just threw a bunch of stuff in here kind of neatly. We're going to make one trip up to the house. We're actually getting the keys tonight, and then we can come back and load up more. We still have more packing to do, but time to head out.
Hi.
Welcome to my van.
Wow.
Didn't you learn not to get into blank white vans with strangers?
I feel like I'm a flight attendant.
With a little jump seat?
This is so cool.
So this one has the power door package, so you can press the button right there.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I gotta close the rear door. And then we gotta play Car Tetris because I gotta move the Z06 so we can get out, and I gotta bring the Murano back over here. But first, let me close the rear door, which there's this handy little strap right here. Pull that. A little bit of momentum. And that is shut. First time in the Brightdrop, ready to hit the road. Wait, one sec. If I put this into delivery mode and drive, watch your hands.
Oh, whoa.
This one has the power opening and closing doors option. And we actually have CarPlay. So let me hook up CarPlay really quickly. So this is the point of contention. Almost all of the GM EVs don't have CarPlay anymore, like the Escalade IQ.
Oh, this is an EV?
This is an all-electric van.
Oh.
This has no engine anymore.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
but this has CarPlay.
Cool. You look like a bus driver right now.
Living out my delivery driver dreams. That's what this was designed for, like last mile delivery, literally like FedEx and those kind of services. Here's CarPlay, which look at the 360 overhead camera, the backup camera, the mirrors, which actually makes this not bad, even though it's enormous.
This seems like it would be a lot of fun to drive, to be honest.
That's why I'm so excited. That's why I'm so excited. The visibility is amazing.
This just feels like a bus.
So you're in the little baby jump seat, which does not recline at all.
It doesn't recline, so it actually is really good for my posture to ensure that I sit upright, you know, but I feel very much like a flight attendant.
My gosh, the visibility is amazing. So you can buy these as just retail custom. Like we could actually buy one if we wanted to. If we wanted to start
love to have one.
A food truck. Well, for us, actual usage could be like a media van, right? For like video filming. We do a mobile podcast out of the back. I know some people do that kind of thing.
Oh.
But we could buy this and turn it into an RV, like camper thing.
Okay.
You can start a food truck. You can do all sorts of different services. Like really, the sky's the limit. Your imagination is the limit. It's not only like FedEx or something like that, so.
Do you need, I'm assuming you don't need a special license to be driving this since you're driving it?
Yeah, since I'm driving it. If there is a bigger, heavier, like a heavier gross weight version, then that requires some other stuff, but this one, as it sits, does not require anything. I mean, that is nice and smooth. Gets up the speed very, very smoothly. This one is the all-wheel drive one, makes a bit more power. That was almost a car accident right there.
I feel like I'm back in school in a bus.
You do hear a lot of like creaking, rattling, because
right,
it is it's a freight cargo van essentially, right? Commercial van.
I've never been in one of these before.
I haven't either.
I feel like we're on set of a Fast and Furious movie where they're doing all the fight scenes in those big cargo
Oh, like they
containers.
got kidnapped, somebody in the back and they're fighting their way
Exactly, that's what it feels like right now.
There's a little smart car up there. You could probably fit 3 smart cars in the back of this thing. It's got orange seat belts. Now, like, that might be like a commercial, like, last mile delivery requirement, but like, usually when you get colorful seatbelts in cars, that's like a sporty thing. And obviously this is not a sporty thing.
Far from a sporty vehicle.
But like, the amount of headroom, I am loving the visibility. Like, the controls, if you've been in a modern GM EV, this is very, very familiar. The layout's a little bit funky, it's a bit different, right? And obviously the packaging is completely different, but there is definitely some familiarity. Oh, I forgot! I have something cool to show you later about opening and closing the doors. On other GM vehicles, the buttons back here for going front and back track or volume up and down. The buttons on the back of this open and close these doors automatically.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let me show you the steering wheel buttons. So we actually have a power button on off. On the back of the steering wheel, usually these are for like volume up and down, but these actually control the doors. So I can press that button, the door closes. I can press the bottom one here, and the door power is open. And then the one on the left side here, so this should open it. Lights turn on, press it again. So nifty. And then we also have like delivery mode. So this button here with the dude and a little cart in the box. So if I press that, if it's on, right, it says delivery mode on. And let me go ahead and actually open this door again. So with delivery mode, when you put the vehicle into drive, both the doors automatically close. And then when you go into park, both the doors automatically open. So that's what delivery mode is, which is pretty nifty. Also, that is a properly serious latch. It makes a very robust sound when it opens and closes, and you want that, right? You want something pretty secure and tough when these vehicles may be carrying higher value packages. Just be careful you don't get anything squished in between there. Kind of makes like a G-Wagon door locking sound, closing sound almost delicate in comparison, but that's properly serious. This one has the biggest battery pack available. It's also all-wheel drive. So at 81% charge, it's showing an indicated 239 miles of range, which is actually pretty good. There is so much glass. The visibility is phenomenal, but you do get a lot of glare because there's a lot of vertical, gigantic panes of glass. Got a lot of stuff loaded in the back, so being very gentle and smooth, which actually is easier with an electric powertrain. And I mean, this thing feels perfectly torquey. You can kind of see how to the left in that window there's a reflection of the infotainment screen and the driver cluster. But that can also happen in things like Jeep Wrangler, or I know the G-Wagon does that because it's so much of a box. Got regen braking. You see it's in the green right there. When I use the turn signal, it pulls up the camera angle over there. And also it's getting a little bit chilly. So I've got my heated seat going. There is a heated driver's seat and even a heated steering wheel. So if you're delivering packages in the winter in Michigan, you'll be nice and toasty. We just spent the first night in the new house, which is exciting. Honey, let me get your door. So on the key fob, you double tap that, it opens up. The Brightdrop is great for chivalry. Clear?
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster. Please make sure all hands and feet are inside the vehicle before closing door. This is rather loud and bumpy at freeway speeds, which is to be expected. It's not like powertrain noise, obviously, but it's just wind noise and rattly, creaky, kind of cargo van noises. Like the door behind me gets very, very squeaky. But you can see get up the freeway speeds very easily. This is probably the most bizarre vehicle I've ever driven on the freeway. Picking up some takeout for brunch in the Brightdrop, which is probably the most weird vehicle I've ever gone to grab food in. And also, it kind of fits in the parking spot. I actually tried to park it in the spot. It's just a little bit too long. But like, there are also like heavy-duty trucks that are probably just this long. But the thing is, this is the 400. The 600 is longer, and that would not fit. But you can kind of, sort of use this as a daily driver.
We are on the way to get some Starbucks, but
This will not, I'm not risking the drive-through of this thing. I think turning radius would be fine, but it's
too tall.
The height, yeah. You know, they have those little like signs and stuff. Right. Not product placement and probably not what it was designed for, but that is perfect for setting your drink when you need to get the door. We're finally mostly done moving. It's been a long and exhausting week, but let's take a tour of the Brightdrop and show you some of the cool details and talk about this really interesting all-electric commercial van. This thing was designed originally with last mile deliveries in mind. So think Amazon delivery, FedEx, those kind of use cases. But as it's reached the market, the use cases naturally have expanded. But a lot of the things we're going to talk about and what we've seen are related to that original design intent. In terms of the styling, it's much more conservative, right? It looks much more conventional. My brother did say it looks like a USPS van from the future when I first sent my family a photo, like, look what I'm driving this week. And I gotta say, it has absolutely turned heads. Like literally as I was driving over here today, two people on the side of the road completely stopped and stared at the Brightdrop as it drove by. It has actually had people stopping, taking photos. I've seen people crossing the street and literally turning their heads. I saw somebody literally stick their camera out, their phone camera out the window and take a video. I think it's because it's different, right? Nobody has really seen these on the road. You've seen the Rivian Amazon vans all over the place. That's the primary competitor to this thing. And from a styling standpoint, that looks much more futuristic, spaceshipy with the little circular Rivian lights up front. This, I think, much more conventional, but still people can tell it's like, whoa, this is something different. They see the Chevrolet bow tie up front, the giant glass canopy, and it's a big white panel van, right? It doesn't say like free car parts on the side or anything like that, right? You can brand it your own way, but it definitely stands out and it turned heads. I was surprised how much people were like, wait, what is that thing? It is now branded a Chevrolet vehicle. It started off originally as a Brightdrop Zevo, I think, but now it's incorporated under the Chevy brand. It is a Chevrolet branded vehicle and it's all white. Blank canvas, right? You want to wrap this, design it, apply your vinyl logo, whatever you want, a full complete change to match your business, your use case. So it is literally just a blank canvas, white and black, including the wheels right there, right? Up front, it's all black plastic with an interesting pattern here. A little bit of opening. You can see a radiator through there. It needs a little bit of cooling, but not like a internal combustion powered van. There is a camera up here. This thing does have a lot of technology for the safety features and some of the convenience features, right? So a camera there, another camera over here. So this does have a lot of cameras all over it. That black plastic up front, interesting texture there. That pattern is also here on the side. The big side view mirrors with another camera right there. And then you have the dual mirrors for visibility. The passenger side here is where you have the power door package. So you press that, opens up, little jump seat right here. There's an airbag, orange seatbelts. I think I saw in the Rivian vans, they're blue seatbelts. So colored seatbelts are a fun little touch there, unless you wrap it some color that would clash with this. But anyways, we've got that same texture here on the floor. That must be part of the branding, but this is to help non-slip, but also looks interesting. The step, the ingress egress is actually really nice. Like these steps aren't too difficult, right? And like I was climbing up and down into this van dozens of times a day, and if you're a delivery driver, it's probably hundreds of times a day, and that gets important. So stepping up in, there's grab handles everywhere, little Brightdrop branding right there, and then so much storage. I love how much storage there is in this thing. Up here, like you can put a suitcase here, a backpack, like whatever you want, packages. You also have an outlet here, a full outlet. More storage here, the little key icon there, maybe you put your keys there, the cup holders, and then more storage below here too. Another cup holder there. This one here, I've got my phone sitting in right now. I'd usually put like a phone or a little wallet or something. You have two USB ports, climate controls, and the rest of the driver area is very, very familiar if you've been in a modern GM electric vehicle or any GM vehicle. The controls, the transmission, the drive selector, your windshield wipers, the steering wheel, everything is extremely familiar. The driver's seat here is elevated up. It is adjustable, but higher seating position for a great vantage point. And just take a look at how much window you have. Like, the visibility is awesome. It does kind of feel like I'm driving in a fishbowl, like an aquarium, but that's good for visibility, right? You have the pillars here pretty thick, but then this giant pane of glass, which means left and right visibility is phenomenal. This thing is huge, but it was shockingly easy to drive. Like, it was not intimidating at all. And you actually have windows that go up and down. So here, you can raise and lower the windows. So it's got proper creature comforts. Again, lower that one too. That one's currently folded back, but it will go up and down. We got mirror controls here, various other controls. This is the delivery mode, the little dude with the little whatchamacallit, cart, lane keeping, lights, lock, unlock, all of that kind of stuff over here. And also we have HVAC. So you have air conditioning, you also have heating, so heated seats, heated steering wheel. So like this thing would be nice in the winter and comfortable. And then in the summer, if you're hot, you can either run the AC, open the windows. So a lot of those modern creature comforts you'd expect. Heated side view mirrors in addition to the 360 overhead view camera. I gotta say, like, parking this thing with the cameras makes it so much easier because it is big, right? Obviously no rear view mirror because what would you be looking at? A door here? So you need the cameras for that kind of stuff. And with the cameras, it was a cinch backing into the driveway, avoiding whatever other cars were parked around. It was really, really handy. What else do I have to show here? CarPlay. So this is a General Motors EV that you can have CarPlay. Huh. You can't have that in Escalade IQ. So this is one way that the Chevrolet Brightdrop is superior to the Cadillac Escalade IQ. You can have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Vehicle status is cool too. You can see tire pressure, individual tire pressures. You can also see energy info, how you're consuming energy. This one has the largest battery packs, the max battery pack. So let me see if I get the numbers right. It's 303 miles city, 243 highway, and 272 combined. I think that's the number. Obviously, highway driving is least efficient. You have aerodynamic inefficiencies. The speeds are higher. So city driving is the most efficient. 272 combined. I have been driving a bunch back and forth all week. No really far trips, but I think I'm about halfway through the battery pack and it's showing 148. So that's definitely very nice. I showed you guys how robust these door latches are. Kind of ridiculous. And it's like 3 steps down to go down below. All right, let's hop back out and finish our exterior tour. A little Brightdrop branding there on the lower black plastic cladding. And then this is like, it's interesting. You can see it's got a texture to it, right? So this is all just white. This is probably for better adherence of vinyl graphics. This is also kind of painted white, but yeah, you can really see the texture here on this side where the sun is hitting it, right? So this is not perfectly like painted automotive smooth. This, I presume, is so you can put whatever logos you want on the side of this thing. We also have the charging door here on this side. Manual open right there. DC fast charging capable. It'll add 160 miles of range. It's 120 kilowatt fast charging in an hour, 160 miles in an hour. So you can do DC fast charging or just regular AC slower charging. But there we go. It is a EV, no tailpipe emissions. Styling wise, you can, I mean, well, okay, the side is just, it's a driving billboard, right? It's a giant white box. But around back, you have a lot of convenient grab handles, right? This step here for getting up feels nice and sturdy. And then the trick to opening the rear, there's a button right here. You have to have the key fob. So the key fob has to be around here. It's in my pocket. If you don't press this button and you just try to, there's a lock, right? So you press this. And it releases, let's see, where is it? Right here. There's a little, oh, it popped out right there. There's a little lock right there. So it'll retract and it'll pop out. And that stops the door from sliding up if you don't want it to. From the inside, you have the same thing here. If I press this button, it retracts. Otherwise, you cannot open this roller door. This does have the power door package, so I can use the key fob. If I double tap that. Key fob is multifunctional, lock, unlock, remote start, the alarm, but also double tapping either of these opens and closes the bulkhead or the exterior passenger door. So this is wired for some power right here. We have another outlet here. I believe the new model year ones are going to have an even more potent off-board power if you want to run appliances or things like that at your job site. So you've got some packing stuff still left over from the move. We've mentioned these. That's the wheel well like covering, so that is not load bearing, so you can't put too much weight on that. We do have the full-size spare option here. I actually have no idea what these are. It's so nicely packaged, I don't want to open it. Aha! Yeah, it's like the road hazard triangle thingies. Okay, that's what that is. I am not going to unpackage that. I presume that's what that is. If I'm wrong, comment below. But again, it's a blank, empty box. It's whatever you want to make of it. Food truck, pet grooming service, camper van, media van. pretty cool back here. And this is the 400. There's a 600, which goes from 400 cubic feet of storage to over 600. So if you need even more space, but then obviously it gets longer and bigger and heavier and everything. And more expensive, I presume. Close that. There we go. All right, time to go for a drive. Close that door. Ooh, do not get your fingers caught between that. This one here is power. Nice. Into drive we go. It makes the typical EV ethereal humming noises. And then actually, if you go into reverse, it makes the boop, 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 boop. Backup sounds. So what has it been like to live with the Chevy Brightdrop this week? Well, I haven't been truly using it as a daily driver, but I have actually driven it a good amount back and forth while moving and running various errands. And it's shockingly easy to drive. It's very, very friendly and approachable despite its size. And it's from somebody who doesn't drive commercial vehicles on a regular basis. It has a novelty to it. The amount of glass is really, really cool. The super high up seating position is really cool. I've never been so high up where I'm like eye level with UPS drivers and semi trucks, and that's kind of fun. It is very smooth and torquey. Like, passing power is great. I've gotten on the freeway. Is it noisy? Absolutely at freeway speeds, but I was able to maintain 70 miles an hour without a problem. It does get very bouncy and bucky ride-wise, especially when you hit some of the less great tarmac around here. At one point I hit like the resonant frequency of the suspension in the road, and it was like bouncing at like this. It was not comfortable. But I imagine if it was loaded down, it would probably settle down a bit. Some of the heavy-duty trucks are like that too. If you have a big dually and you're not towing a big trailer or something, they can get kind of bouncy because the suspension has to be able to handle when it gets weighted down. In terms of payload, these are, again, not supposed to be towing anything ridiculous, right? But they can handle several thousand pounds in the back, depending on your configuration. But I gotta say, just as driving it, like I could imagine turning this into a camper van, my use case, camper van or a media van, and driving around using it. Is it big? Absolutely. You get a ton of space. Like, it's a class up from a Sprinter van, a Transit, one of those style of vans, which those are much more approachable, usable, right? I would not want to park this in a parking structure. When we went to downtown Detroit for dinner, I was like joking with Angel, like, we should take the Brightdrop. She's like, what? So no, we took the Nissan Murano instead, because that's a normal car. So parking wise, no, I would not want to deal with anything in a big city like that. If you have a Transit or a Sprinter van, that's still usable. But that again, this is obviously a completely different use case. Now, in terms of the positioning of this vehicle, you can buy it, like I mentioned, as a retail customer. I want to buy one of these and turn it into my food truck. I want to buy it and turn it into my cargo, whatever you actually want. You can go to a Chevrolet dealer and order one of these. Now, this one on the window sticker is around $90,000 because of the max battery pack. Batteries are typically the most expensive part of an EV, just like with regular road cars. Same thing here. The max battery pack is the biggest, gets you the most number of miles on a charge, but it also will cost more. It's an $8,000 option. We have the power door package, a couple other miscellaneous things. So about 90 grand from, I think, 70, just under 80 grand, high 70s was the starting price for a all-wheel drive 400. Now, there are much more affordable versions. I think this thing starts at 45 grand. If you get the smallest battery pack, front wheel drive, obviously a 400. So depending on what you're trying to do with it, there is a whole spread of price points for this thing, and I believe it still does qualify for the federal tax credit. Roundabout, not bad. Oh, I looked up turning radius, and this thing has a comparable, if not better, turning radius than Chevrolet Silverado 1500. So, like, this is the 400, right? Maneuverability wise, that kind of puts it into picture. It's not like orders of magnitude worse than driving a regular pickup truck. And I think that's important because, you know, with a last mile delivery van, you need to be able to maneuver in neighborhoods, parking lots, driveways, make U-turns, 3-point turns, whatever, right? Like, this thing can flip a U-turn in places that I would do it in a regular truck or a big full-size SUV. So that is also impressive, not with any fancy rear steer or anything like that, right? It's just, it would definitely would not put that on something like like this. In terms of who's been buying these things, I know I've seen FedEx ones. I think Walmart bought a bunch too, and we'll see how they keep expanding. Have they sold a ton of them? No. You don't see these as often as you do the Amazon Rivian van. Rivian did have a head start. They came out first, and I think Chevy, when they were dealing with some of the branding changes and Brightdrop and Zebra, people didn't know what they were. But now, under a Chevy badge, you can buy them at a dealer. People probably start to learn more about these. I hope to see more of these out there, and seriously, this thing was turning heads this week, which I thought was hilarious. Honestly, every time I hop this thing to drive it, I just put a big grin on my face. The ergonomics, everything is like really well thought out. Like there's a power outlet over there, the steps to get in, the power opening and closing doors, like the lighting, like I approached it and it illuminates at night. Like it might as well be daytime. So easy. Getting in and out, like things were really, really well thought out. And I love how familiar things feel. If you've been in a modern Chevrolet EV, like the cluster, the font, the infotainment, everything is very, very familiar. And then you have some creature comforts on top of that, right? Like heated seat, heated steering wheel. That'd be great in the winter for sure. I was running the AC because it was nice and warm this week. We have CarPlay. I was listening to music. Speakers are up there. Obviously, they sound like a Bluetooth speaker in a box, which is essentially what it is. But yeah, I didn't even have the charger this week. Didn't drive it quite that far, but I'm sure with the GM Ultium stuff, charging would not be an issue. You see the camera pulled up right there when I have the turn signal on. Oh, let's talk about some of the negatives. At night, that's useless. If it's dark out, like it's so pixelated and like obviously there's not enough illumination, it doesn't do anything at all. So there's no point to that. And I don't have CarPlay anymore pulled up. I wish they would put this like in the cluster too, because you can see it's such a bigger screen. It's kind of pixelated too. I think there's limitations of that. Obviously, you can hear a lot of rattles and squeaks and all of that because of the nature of this vehicle. The door right here, that is to be expected. What else? From a moving standpoint, there wasn't a big ramp like a U-Haul, but that's again not the point of this van. I think making this an EV vastly improves from all other sort of similar vehicle types that I've experienced before. Remember last time you rented a U-Haul and drove it? Did it suck? Yeah, probably, right? It was horrible. Any kind of those like rental big truck van things, the ancient transmission, terrible powertrain, noisy, inefficient, terrible on the inside, they just kind of sucked. This was honestly really, really nice. I'm gonna floor it. Whee! Once it gets going though, passing power is good. And also, this van is supposed to be carrying precious cargo, so you want to be gradual and gentle. You don't want it to like give you that EV shove that you get in passenger cars. And it being electric also meant I could very smoothly accelerate away. You can do one pedal driving with your regen braking too. You've got tons of information available. You can schedule it. Like it checks a lot of the boxes if you're looking for something like this. Maybe you want to upgrade from your existing van. Maybe you want to try the EV life. You have got a fleet of these or something like that. Like, this is pretty cool. It's been fun. It's been fun and obviously extremely helpful and useful this week to have this thing for moving. But this was cool to live with. And the last thing is, it just sparked imagination. For me, it was just like imagining and seeing all the things that you could possibly do with this. For me, naturally, like a media van or a camper, like living van kind of thing, were things that immediately came to mind as something that could be a lot of fun. But it's a blank canvas, and I think it'd be really cool to see what people do with these things. I was talking to somebody from Chevrolet, they're like, I would turn it into an ice cream truck. Because who wants to eat ice cream standing next to a diesel generator? Nobody. But this, you get nice cold ice cream, you get the joyful happiness of your childhood memories of an ice cream truck, and it's all nice and quiet. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. By far, the quirkiest, weirdest, most random press car that I've spent a week living with, but it's been really, really fun to experience the Chevy Brightdrop 400. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thank you again to the Chevrolet team for making it happen. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna beat a garbage truck in a drag race. I win!